woman climbed onto the edge of the basket, then pressed her body against the rope ladder. With no safety equipment at all, suddenly one foot slipped. The scare snapped her awake. Quickly, she adjusted her rhythm. Then, gritting her teeth, she kept climbing the rope ladder. Her hands were frostbitten, so she could only hook her arms around the ladder, shakily inching upward. Soon, Ellie reached the vertical side of the balloon. Here, she had to be extra careful. Finally, she came to the hardest spot, the wet, slippery balloon surface, where there was nothing to hold on to. She could only rely on a knot sticking out from the side. It looked close enough to grab, but was still just out of reach. But just as she was about to succeed, her frozen left hand let go instinctively. Luckily, her right leg was still hooked tightly onto the rope. Already short of oxygen, she was about to black out, but the terrifying height below snapped her awake again. That fear gave her another burst of strength. Pushing her body to the limit, Ellie grabbed the rope again. She quickly stabilized herself, tied the extra rope around her waist, and bit down hard on the knot to secure it. Ellie didn't dare rest here. The balloon was still rising, and time was running out. But the closer she got to the top, the harder it became. The last 5 meters took her 10 full minutes to climb. But when she finally reached the balloon's crown, she saw that the vent was frozen shut. She tried smashing it with her elbow, but it wouldn't budge, so she tried standing up. Now, the most terrifying thing wasn't the height above the ground, but the endless void of space above her. Ellie didn't dare look up. After steadying herself, she raised her right foot and kicked hard. On the third try, it finally loosened a crack. Feeling the rush of hot air, Ellie quickly wedged her foot into the opening. Then she pulled out her knife, cut through her shoelace, and left the shoe stuck in place. Only then did her tense nerves relax. Ellie fainted. She had no idea how long she was unconscious. As the balloon dropped lower, the ice began to melt, and her body started to slip downward. Half awake, she opened her eyes and realized she was hanging upside down 10 kilometers above the ground. At first, Ellie thought she was dreaming. But when she looked down at the terrifying view, she remembered what had happened. She forced down her panic and shouted for her teammate in the basket. No answer. She could only save herself. Ellie began swinging her body, getting closer to the basket with each sway. Then she kicked off hard, making the swings even bigger. She was going to throw herself onto the basket. Finally, she hooked her arm over the basket's edge. After catching her breath, she pulled herself in. But before she could feel relieved, she saw her teammate lying unconscious. Ellie's heart sank. She rushed over, calling their name over and over, but there was no sign of waking.